Hey everybody, we're gonna take a look at Hollywood Orchestrator Opus Edition today. Normally I would entitle this video like a first look or, like having a look at or something if I wanted to completely rip off Daniel James or something like that. But instead, what I'm just gonna call it is just an introduction to it, I guess, maybe, or a checking out video. Like, this is not an in-depth review. This is not me going into it and like having actually worked with it a lot. I mean, I've taken a look at it this morning. I've added the strings to my template here in Logic, but let me just turn this off too. This is by no means like an informed look. This is literally me just sitting down and taking a look at it. So let's take a look at it. So before we get started, what is Opus, Hollywood Orchestrator Opus? Basically what they've done is they've taken Hollywood Orchestra, taken mostly the same samples, although there are a few new ones, and they've loaded it into this, which is a, it's a new plugin, so it's written from the ground up. I believe they've been working with one of the contact designers or original authors or something of that nature. And so basically there's no more play for this. It's in a new engine. There's some new features and stuff. So we're just going to kind of go through it. Basically what this is going to be is me kind of adding it to my template, finding the patches I like. We might do a little composition with it. We'll see how long we go here. So I've already added the strings to my template. So I've got them down here on all these string tracks. So my violin one now has an Opus violin one in it. From what I can tell, it sounds very, as you would expect, very similar to Hollywood Orchestra because it's using the same sample content. There's some changes in the player, so we'll get to that. So let's go ahead. We've got the 6 horns slur rep max loaded here. Let's just see what it sounds like. Oh, before I start, before I make noise, there may be a little bit of popping and clicking. I would not judge the performance of this plugin based on what you're seeing here today. I'm still tweaking some settings over here. What you're looking at over here is actually a virtual machine running on a hypervisor. The performance on it's excellent. I've benchmarked it at the very similar to my other servers, which are running direct on the bare metal. It seems to have very similar CPU and disk performance, but I'm still kind of tweaking that. I did some tweaks this morning that made a real big difference. So there may be a little bit of popping and clicking. This is not something that I would say is indicative of the plugin itself. So, hey, Herlos Hermosos, how are you? That 6-horn patch still great. So this is a rep patch. I believe it's supposed to be able to do repetitions pretty easily. So, same high quality sounds as you would get in Hollywood Orchestra. I'm going to go ahead and just click on over to this track right below it, which is a play of the same patch, and I bet you it sounds exactly the same. So very similar. I've got some of the EQ on that one rolled off a little differently, but it's very similar. In terms of memory usage, I've got the same patch loaded basically twice, and we're using about 9 gig of memory. So, a few gigs. This is not one of the key switch patches. This is one of the just legato patches. When I do my horns and brass, I always make like Os6, Os4, whatever patches in addition to the solo. So what we'll do is we're going to load up a solo now, and we'll actually load up a key switch patch and see how that does. So let me grab the original solo horn from Hollywood Brass here. So right away, some comparisons. This is play. You'll notice that it doesn't let me interact with the plugin until everything is loaded, right? So it had that little loading box there. And now we've got play is loaded. So this is just the regular old, don't dock to that, please. This is just the regular old Yes, I am alive, Carson. I know it's been a few weeks. I had some client work. There's going to be times when I don't stream when I have client work, because I can't always stream those. So play, not resizable, not a resizable GUI. This is as big as it gets. Let's go ahead and duplicate this track. Command D. Oops, that was Windows, so I hit Windows D. Command D. We'll call this Opus Horn, Solo Horn. Gotta try to keep to my conventions here. I've got this a little aggressively EQ. Let me just turn off all my EQs. I don't know what I'm doing here. I'm pulling too much brightness out of it. Make sure that the Vienna instance is named. All right, delete play, and let's add the Opus version. So right away you can see one of the big changes when I load this is that I can interact with the plugin while it's loading, which is a new feature of Opus. Here's our solo horn. Let's load their master key switch. That little bunk you're hearing, when you click on the browser, it plays a little preview file. But since I've chosen it already, why did that go away? Okay, cool. So right away, one of the things I really like, resizable. Resizable. Stop docking Vienna. Okay, sorry, I want this right here. Okay, so let's see what this sounds like. So first of all, one of the things I've noticed is the key switch patches tend to have their in plugin reverb on by default. And they tend to have the long patch loaded by default. So this could be something we could use for like chord arrangements. Pretty good performance. This CPU metric right here, it's probably very hard to see, but it does not seem to be real. In that, if you look at our CPU, it hasn't gone over maybe 4% today. So, whereas this was definitely upwards of, let's see. I mean, they're saying 30%. Sorry, let's actually compare them. So that's saying 30 in the plugin, but then this is never going above maybe 10%, so not sure. Memory, we're now using about 13 gig. We were at 9, so this is currently says about a 4 gig patch. This is a 3 gig patch, so again, kind of difference. Let's look at the key switches. So for that, we click on Articulations. So right now we have sustains accent. So that's pretty cool. It's got that little bit of accent on it. We've got Legato Slur on D. Oh, sorry, that's Legato Slur. I think this slur accent one might be good for like a I'll have to look it up later, but yeah, one of those sorts of like Jerry Goldsmithy sorts of things. We've got staccatos. Looks like those are mapped to velocity by default. Do cool stuff with that. Marcato's short. Okay. So are these all loaded? These are all loaded. And it says it's only using 3 gig of RAM, which is frankly shocking. Based on what we had loaded before, that seems mostly accurate. So that's cool. Oh no, these are not all loaded. Never mind. I'm sorry. We have not loaded these. Okay, so here's how the articulations work as far as key switches in Hollywood Opus. So you turn on, say, pitch waiver here, and then you right-click on this, and you can assign a key switch. They've got a bunch of ones sort of pre-mapped for you as suggestions. Pretty good. This looks like maybe portato. So I'm actually working on my template while I'm doing this, so I'm going to add all these in. Let's just turn them all on first, and then we'll see how much more RAM we see. So you got this nice little loading graph up here I like, and notice that you can interact with the plugin while it's loading. Big advantage over play. And you can play things while it's loading. So, you know, the thing Context had forever. So that one's not loaded. Are rips in here? Yep, there's some rips. I'm not sure why those aren't playing. That stop sound is interesting. So this is stopped with accent. Oh, this would sound really good on like a... something like that. So one of the things I saw in VI Control, somebody was complaining that they got rid of the NI patches, which are the Niente patches, which go to nothing. But so far, every patch that I've played... Oh, wow. I say that, of course, and this one doesn't. All the string ones seemed like they had Niente in the max patch, so... Pretty good. Trill whole tone, or half tone, half step. Rep fast. So these are just repeats. Sforzandi. crescendi, you know, your usual stuff. These rips aren't working for me. Let's try deactivating them and forcing it to reload them. There they go. Oh, I was out of the range. Here's the rips. I love horn rips. They're like the best thing. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add the key switches to all these. So my first suggestion to East West is it'd be super great to just be able to say, like, bulk edit these. Like, I wonder if I haven't tried. Like, it'd be nice to be able to hold shift and, like, select a bunch of them and then just say key switches and have them, you know, put on their default key switches. Oops. Nope. No, thank you. I actually don't want this to be a key switch range. I want it to be a key switch. So you can see there's a lot of different options. There's key switch range, key switch program change, controller, and velocity. So you could use MIDI controllers for these, or you could use program changes, you know, whatever works for you, which is nice. This is certainly a level of customization that was not in play, and I saw a lot of people complain about it. A lot of people really said that this just wouldn't work for their workflow because there just wasn't enough of what I'm doing right now, where you can go in and sort of customize how, you know, the workflow works. As soon as we get these key switches in, I'm going to go and check and see what it says our memory usage is. I've currently got this VM on about 120-ish gig of RAM, so hopefully we don't run out trying to load all this stuff up. But so this says this is using 8 gig of RAM. We were on 9. Should be something around 17. Yeah, there's 18. Seems like maybe there's about a gig difference between the player and the actual what the machine is reporting. So yeah, that's a solo horn. Let's move to another patch. Let's go down to our So one thing I would love to see East West do someday is do what Berlin did with their horns, where they actually sampled 4 separate horns. You know, if you're ever thinking about redoing the entirety of your orchestra range, that's something I would love to see, because that's really useful to have actually 4 distinctly different horns. So, all right, let's close the horns. I just recently redid my template where now my track stacks are in by instrument instead of family, and it's considerably better. All right. Once again, we're going to build this off of a Hollywood brass, Hollywood, you know, regular sort of vanilla Hollywood patch. This is just the legato. So one of the things Hollywood definitely, I feel like, was very designed around was the idea of a articulation per track. So you'll notice in my template, you know, HB legato, HB, this should be long. Hold on just a minute. I just noticed a template error. Need to fix it. I think these are longs. Oh no, never mind. This was gonna be our new opus. Ha ha ha. Opus Trumpets. So let's do the same thing we did with the horns. You know, and helps if you spell it right. Trumpets. Trumpeters. Let's turn off the EQs again. Delete play from the instance. And let's load the Opus ones, which I'm guessing are going to sound very similar because they're the same samples. A lot of people are complaining and say it's not worth it for something that uses the same samples. I mean, if that's your thought, I mean, I don't necessarily think that's a bad take. I do think Opus is considerably better than Play. It's made a lot. It's addressed pretty much everything I see people complain about in Play, from what I've seen. And I haven't had it crash even once. Although I am apparently a little strange in that other people are seeing crashes. Turn off the reverb. Let's see what it sounds like. Pretty good. Pretty good. And go do the load up all the articulations dance. Let's see, where are we before? I should have checked our memory. Oh well. We're at about 22. So this is not something you're going to be able to do on low RAM machines, is load these key switch patches. It's just not going to happen. Because I've only loaded a couple of brass instruments, this many instruments. And we're at 22 gig right now. So as you're thinking about this, keep that in mind. I feel like it's not loading these. Did it actually load these? I feel like I normally see the little loading thing. Oh no! Resource locator. Search directory. Samples. East, west. Now here's a question. How does the folder structure work? It should be Hollywood Brass, right? Let's see. Okay, so I'm noticing that there are some missing samples. Oh! Of course, as soon as I say it's never crashed on me, it's about to die. This has been out for a day, so... Alright, well here's what we're going to do. I should have saved it after the horns. Big mistake, Schweitzer. Alright, I'm calling it. So that's just for information, I have loaded violin ones, violin twos, violas, cello, double basses, string ensemble, horns, and that was the first time I've seen a crash. So I've been doing that using those key switch patches. Actually, hold on, I'm gonna blank the screen for a second. Okay. Hey, it saved my version with horns. That's nice of it. Oh, we've even got trumpets open here. All right, let's go back to our server here. Okay, so this was before we had loaded anything into it. Okay, so here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna save this for real fast, because like I said, I'm trying to actually get my template into good shape while doing this. Thought it'd be nice to look at this with while doing that. All right, let's go back to these Opus Trumpets. So right now, let's just get a read on our usage. We're using about 6 gig of RAM right now before we add anything. Let's insert Opus. Let's insert Opus. Let's load. Let's try that again. I'm gonna do the textbook definition of a little nuts here and oh, hold on, I can't see my OBS. And try the exact same thing and see if it's different. Let's find out today. So this is the 3 Trumpets Key Switch Master. Give it a second to load. So I will say, like play, there is some like hang out and wait for things to load stuff. So if you're one of these people, I know Daniel James seems to be one of these people from what I've seen, is that you like things to be a little bit more instant. This is not going to help you there. Articulations. Okay. Do you remember which one was causing this problem? Let's add them one by one until we find it. And we just won't load that articulation. Mark auto sustain. Legato with repetitions. Round robin times 4. Legato slur accent max. So like that one would be good on Jurassic Park. Hanseros. It'd also probably be good on like sorry, I don't have that one committed to memory. That sounds real good. You know, I see so many people complain about the workflow in Hollywood, and I get it. I get it. You like normally you can't do this. This is new, but the sound is so good and it's unrivaled. There is no brass that sounds that good. I'm sorry. So like, I don't mean to embarrass orchestral tools here, but let's put the Jxl Trumpets A3 and do the same thing. What does it sound like? Let's give them a chance to load. Let's put them on their Marcato longs, which is E-1. Here, right? Yep. Sorry, I'm playing it badly. Let me play it right. I mean, there's no, I mean, that sounds fine. It's very hyped. But then that compared to this. and then of course everything falls apart. Let's put it back on its Legato Slur accent. I'm sorry, Hollywood sounds way better. It does. It just works for that style. Now, there's other styles where I think Jxl would probably work a lot better. But for like that, like classic Hollywood sound, like it's just so much better. It really is, in my opinion. If you disagree with me, engage with this if you're watching it on YouTube and tell me how wrong I am so that I can be higher in the algorithm or whatever. Okay, which one was it? I think it was over here. I think it was one of these mutes. That's the other thing is I always see people complain that Hollywood has too many articulations, and I'm like, do you know how brass instruments work? Because they have a lot of possible articulations that are subtly different but noticeably different. Anyway, I think it was this one. Should we save? Let's save before everything falls apart. Let's save. Can you play the starbound pattern like this one? Here, we'll put it on. Hold on. Oop, sorry. Now I don't know why Vienna closes that plugin when I hit save, but that could be annoying. Yeah, here, like where's Legato Slur? Yeah, it'll probably sound good on this. Yeah, sounds good. If you want to hear it on Jxl too. Here's Jxl. Sorry, let me fix it. Oh, I still have that one on. Hold on, this isn't fair. Let's be fair. Let's put it back on its regular old sustains. It's this one, right? Yeah. So this is Jxl in comparison to that. Sounds pretty good on that. I feel like Jxl sounds really good in the sort of more like mid range of the trumpet, but as it gets higher, they've just invested so much on that upper like quadruple F dynamic that I think it really the library suffers a little for it in other contexts, but it is the only brass library that I know of that has that. So, all right, let's go back to adding some key switches here. We just saved, so when inevitably we have the bug here, I don't remember which one of these. I think it was maybe the next row. I think it was either crush slow or crush mid. This is cool. Cluster bend. Iconic. That's nice of you to say. That's a cool sound. Like, that's not a sound you get in a lot of other stuff. Just nice, just lovely sound. And again, if you already own Hollywood Orchestra, I mean, it's a hard thing for me to suggest that you should go to this unless this is worth the upgrade price. This sort of thing is worth the upgrade price plus the Orchestrator, which we'll look at if I have time today. All right, I think it was this flutter tongue patch. Everybody cross your fingers. Oh, it worked. Cool. Trumpet rips. I like them less than horn rips, but that's a useful sound when you need like that moment right before an action scene, right? Where like all of a sudden something happens. And then like maybe you go like useful articulation. You don't get it in everything. But you do get it in Hollywood brass. So, you know, risers and oddities. I don't remember this patch from Hollywood brass. Okay. Okay. Cool. Run trill. So this is meant to be like, I think. So this is sort of taking that idea from the other one, but instead of it being a pre-recorded, you could do like even, you know, like an octatonic scale or something, or like a whole tone scale that they hadn't recorded. You know, you could go. Or something, right? Sforzando crash. So the brass is definitely less aggressive than the strings from a RAM usage perspective, I think, because I think like the Violin 1 patch when you do this is like 13 gig or something. And I do have this set, so one of the things I was tweaking this morning, okay, it's mute, close. We just won't use mute insects. Mute Legato Slur, does that work? Okay. One of the One of the things that I was noticing this morning was that I was getting weird disc performance with this. I had this set to... I am streaming this from an SSD because I am. But because this is in a virtual machine, that SSD is not being presented raw to the machine because I want to be able to snapshot it. So every Sunday, like at 3 in the morning, all these machines or this machine at least gets snapshotted so that I can always have a backup of the samples on it. And you can't take a snapshot of a raw disc. So I do have it set as the it's like QEMU disc, so that you get a slight hit to performance when you do that. But I noticed that if I set play to say, hey, this is a hard drive, this is a spinning hard drive, and so it catches more in RAM, it fixes it a lot. So where are we? We're at about 16 gig of memory for all the articulations of the 3 trumpets, plus our Hollywood brass trumpet long patches is in here. So maybe a little bit less, maybe 15 gig for that one. So just trying to kind of give people my experience so far. Again, I am set to use more RAM so that we're not trying to stream off that virtual disk as much. So, all right, let's do the Opus, where this is going to be a little boring because we're going to have to do the Opus solo trumpet now. How's everybody doing in chat? While we wait for this to load. I should not have duplicated the Opus instance. That was a mistake because now it's going to load another 16 gig into RAM, which I'm just going to immediately wipe. Doing well. Nice to see you, AP Moss. Thanks for stopping by. Glad to be back. Had some client stuff that they did not want streamed, so that's trumpets, long trumpets. Where's my actual trumpets begin? Where's Hollywood brass trumpet, solo trumpet? I need to be more... Okay, so it's like here. We want to do it here. Opus solo trumpet. Yeah. Let's make sure that the Vienna thing is named right. I'm turn off these EQs. Opus solo trumpet. Okay. So, what I would expect is about 30 gig to be used right now. Let's look. Yeah, 25. So it went from like 16 to 25. So whatever that is was the 3 trumpets with all articulations loaded. So that's really like 30 patches. So let's load up that key switch master. I really like the interface to this. They've gotten rid of a lot of the really sort of overly too much graphics in the design. It's a little bit more minimal here. I would still like to see this maybe less big, but I'll take it that it's a little bit smaller and a little easier to read. And heck, it doesn't really matter because I can resize it. So that's huge. That's huge. Okay, so we loaded the trumpet key switch. Let's go to the articulations page and take a listen to some of these articulations. What's that from? Anybody? I'll wait. Want to hear it again? What's that from? This sounds different to me than the Hollywood brass solo trumpet. It sounds a little cleaner. All right. Oh, it's because it was the that's why it was the non-legato. Sorry, I was using the sustain patch. That's why the transition sounded weird. Although those sound really good for being a sustain patch. I think that they made some tweaks to the sustain patches. They sound better than the old ones, in my opinion. Not ringing a bell? Apollo 13. Good James Horner score. So more velocity, okay. There's like all of airships. I forgot to turn off the this. Oh, thank you. Okay, so let's start assigning key switches. I'm just gonna do a quick save operation just in case we have another little blow up here. At least then we'll be able to start from here and not have to reload the instance. I do notice the saves in Logic are just a little bit longer with Opus stuff in them. Spend a lot more time looking at beach balls. Maybe not a lot. Spend more time with Sus Vib Max. I want to hear what this sounds like. Ooh. That's max Vib. I agree. Sus expression. So this should sound good. Interesting. Mark Sus light. Mariachi Sus? That is awesome. That's a cool sound. I do remember that is in Hollywood Brass. What is the pilot pilot music in Halo Infinite? Just so happen to have the score to the pilot right here. Let's find it. There's Please Don't Die. Please Don't Die. Where is that? Oh, I forgot my brass is way up here. Ah, there it is. Hold on, let me do some... I think I like the regular Legato Slur better. Nice. Traveling Halo, I don't know if you're watching, but if you see this later, you came real close to the right transcription of that. There is no triplet, it's just eighths. Anyway, let's continue. Hey, Suitcase, nice to see you. Nice to be back. Had some stuff to work on that I could not stream. Now we're just working on, we're doing template work, which is incredibly, fun to watch. Me turning on switches. But at least we'll get a nice YouTube video out of this where we kind of look at what this stuff looks like. So here's the double. One of the things Hollywood has always had, I think, is really great shorts for their brass. I think it goes to their dynamic layers. They put a lot of dynamic layers in their stuff. I know the strings have, I think, 5 maximum, which is really great. I'm not going to play through all these because, reasons. So it was the one called Insects. I'd be interested to know if maybe that's in, because I know this is so, the sounds in Opus Edition are so similar to the sounds in Hollywood Brass, or just the regular Hollywood Play version, that they use the same folder. So I would bet if I tried to load Insects in Play, I bet you it wouldn't work either. Just gonna get these loaded and in, and then we'll be done. Not a whole lot of difference. Next thing is gonna be the trombones. I always find that brass libraries live and die very much on their trombones, in the sense that horns always sound good in samples, but bones sometimes sound real bad. Okay, cool. So that's loaded. Let's save our template here. Oh, AP Moss, I'm glad it's interesting to see. Yeah, this is... Sometimes you just got to spend a day not making music, but just kind of, working on your template. So I've changed my template a little bit. I'll have to make another YouTube video. I unstacked all the track stacks that were based on instrument families, and I grouped them into actual instruments now, so that there's a folder per instrument instead of per family. So our flutes are one track stack, and then all the libraries that I have for flutes just live under that. And so what that allows me to do is that when I collapse it all down, this is more like an actual orchestral score, right? Because it's just, there's not 400 instruments, which I prefer. All right, let's do our bones. Let's work on our bones here. All right, so Hollywood Brass Trombones Legato. Let's just get that open. Oh, let's take a look at our RAM before we do. Well, oh well. I'll check our RAM here. Let's check our RAM before we add the Opus one. So we're at 32. We've used now 32 gig of RAM for Opus Trumpets, the master key switch with all the articulations, the longs from Hollywood Brass, the solo trumpet, again, all articulations, and then I just loaded the legato trombones from Hollywood Brass. Now, one of the things I'm wanting to do in this sort of experience is to kind of try and see if there's any difference between the samples, because so Opus Edition, as I've said a couple of times on this video already, Opus Edition uses the same samples as Hollywood with some additions. So there are some changes. For example, in the strings, there's a new 18 violin section, first violin section. And so I do want to kind of compare against something from Hollywood Brass. So this is the regular old play legato trombone sample. Nice sound. Nice sound. one of the things that when I was redoing a bunch of stuff in my template earlier this year is let's just rename this real fast. Opus Trombones. So this is the trombones patch. This is the ensemble patch. Oh yeah, let's turn off these EQs. Early this year, I kind of screwed up the way that my Hollywood series samples are working, so I actually haven't been using them a whole lot recently. So it's been really great. I just recently, yesterday, finally got all the Hollywood stuff back into the template and working correctly, so that I could do this today. Okay, so these are our Opus Trombones. So we're going to delete the play instance. We're going to add Opus. And, you know, it's entirely possible that when I actually try to use these on this machine, that I just have not tweaked it enough. It doesn't seem like it's having problems anymore. It seems like it's getting really good performance. But yeah, we'll see. One thing I don't like is that it doesn't feel like the text gets any bigger when I... You know what? We're going to do this one because I bet you this one doesn't have... Oh, no, it does. We're going to load the 2 trombones and 1 bass trombone master key switch here. All right, let's go turn off their reverb. Again, I really like this interface. This interface is really nice. It still looks like East-West, but it's not quite as just overly ornate and adorned. It's just a little bit simpler, but still good. I also noticed a big difference in Opus versus the Play stuff is that I don't think a single patch in the Play stuff loads a surround mic by default, whereas these tend to. So I don't know what the change, what the thinking there was, but yeah. All right, so sustains. Let's listen to some trombone sustains. Nice. So again, sounds like Hollywood. Sustains accent. Ooh, that's good. I like having the bass trombone in there. It really adds a lot of... What is Eshram's theme from Infinite? Gareth Eshram. Cool. Okay, Legato Slur. So this is more comparable to that Hollywood patch I played earlier. Beautiful, beautiful sound. All right, so these are loaded in with key switches. I'm gonna go ahead and just avoid those. We've kind of, well, let's hear the staccato. So I feel like the bones in Hollywood brass and here are just a little bit, the staccatos are a little mealy mouthed. They're not always super crisp. So, and that is the staccato, like the super staccato one. That's the shortest staccato they put in here. I could probably fix some of that with my own, like dropping this a little. Yeah, it's better, but it's still not quite quite there. Okay. Let's check out the portato. Nice. So this is the loading thing up here, so you'll notice that I don't really pay attention to it. Which is a big change from Hollywood, where, you know, you're locked into waiting for these things to finish. And every Contact person in the world is like, Contact has done that forever, and you're 100% right. Good night, Mr. Marcello. Oh, I need to be adding key switches. What am I doing? Add the key switches, please. Add the key switches, please. Add the key switches, please. I'm just using their default key switches per my usual, like, use the library in the way the developer, you know, gave it to you as best you can and kind of adapt to them, because usually that way shows off the best sides of the library. This flutter tongue is always so good. Or there's no flutter tongue? Slide isn't really noticeable. There it is. Flutter clusters. This is gonna sound good. This is gonna sound gnarly. Or it's not gonna load. Huh. So some issues with the library here, like this Flutter clusters is not. Well, you know what I should do is look and see. Oh, that's awesome. All right, let's get back to what we were doing. So no issues with that one. I apologize, East West. Your product is great. Ah, so good. So good. The sound is so good. I don't know if I like that release. I don't see myself using that a lot, but maybe. Maybe. Yeah, I try to use libraries in the way that they sort of arrived as best as possible. So I don't try to mess with these, but you can. So it's important. We'll take a little break here from the mindless adding of articulations to note that you can change these. So you can right click on this and you can say make this a, you know, a B5 or all the way down. You could do the Spitfire thing where everything's down in unplayable land if you wanted to. Again, I just try to keep, because, you know, like when I go use my Berlin stuff, all the key switches are completely different than my Spitfire stuff, or completely different than my. It all just, you know, it's a matter of taste from the developer, and I just try to kind of follow the developer because usually they have a reason for it. All right, let's just do the trombone solo now. And we're going to we're going to actually remember to load. Let's see how our RAM usage is doing. So we're up to 40 gig with, again, all those articulations and a few Hollywood brass stuff loaded here. Opus Solo Trombone. I try to keep my patches in the same order, like by manufacturer, by, you know, ensembles above solos, but I'm sure there's a million places where I haven't done that. Turn off the EQ for demoing purposes here. It's a nice way to do like, not like a walkthrough, but like a here's what the library sounds like while you're adding it to your template, because you're going to play with it anyway, so that's nice. Why is there a mono version of this? I wonder. Like, who wants... Has anyone ever been like, man, I love that library, but you know, the plugin does not offer a mono version. Hollywood Brass. Solo Trombone. Key Switch. Key Switch Master. Yes, we're working on we're adding Opus to the template today. Thousand Ramen, if I'm saying that right. If I'm not, I apologize. Which is not the most fun thing to watch, but at least we're getting kind of a little bit of a pseudo walkthrough, kind of like inspecting it, looking at it, trying it out. So far, I mean, the plugin, I mean, I've just been kind of doing what you're seeing here, where I'm just kind of adding stuff to the template, but I'm playing all the articulations. Look at how many articulations. Oh, I mean, this is Hollywood Brass, but the key switch patch in Hollywood Brass does not have this many options. Oh, you know what? Their reverb is still on. Turn off your reverb. This is annoying. I wish I could like globally turn this off and just never use it, but that's okay. If you don't include it in your plugin, people get weirdly mad. All right, sus accent. All right, we got to add the key switches, please. I love that they have them pre-mapped. I just wish there was a way to just select. I mean, maybe there is. I have not read the manual, which is a really bad idea to go be putting videos on the internet about how great or bad a sample library is without having read the manual. But it would be super cool to be able to grab all of these articulations, turn them on, and assign key switches. That would be cool. If that is possible and I'm just missing it, I am sorry, East West. I want to hear what these repeated ones. Are those velocity? Sounds weirdly quiet. I have to fix that. I hear how the Sforzando sounds like. I always find Sforzandos is a place where I find pre-recordeds can sometimes really, really shine. You gotta read the manual, Thousand. You gotta read the manual, because like I get where you're coming from, but like NVRR makes a big. I mean, it makes sense. Round robin times 4, it's telling you how many round robins there are. NV is telling you that it's non-vibrato. etc., etc. I don't have it here in my old house back before we moved. I actually had a big chart on the wall with all of their whatever it's called. Whatever it's called. What are they called? Abbreviations. And you know why they do that? Because saying non-vibrato in the file name causes some of their file names to exceed the total length that a file can have in Windows. What is pedal flutter? Look at this. Look at how many articulations there are. That sound is so cool. I wish they had, I guess probably because of the nature of the articulation, you can't have it dun 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 dun. That'd be cool. I will not compose. Last time I tried to do a first look, I ended up just writing music, and it was a very unsatisfying video, in my opinion. That vibrato is so good. That's so good. I feel like I am like wooing someone. Oh, I can't do the whole belly. The probably sounds really gnarly down low too. I liked it up high. It was cool up high. All right, I'm getting distracted. So how many articulations? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6, 12, 18, 24, 30, 36, 42, 48. So there are 50... How many? 50 something? Some 50 plus. I'm so bad at math. 6, 12, 18, 24, 30, 36, 42, 48, 54 minus 2, 52? Is that what it is? Articulations for the solo trombone. Over 50. I'm interested to see where they have mapped these key switches, because a keyboard is 88 keys. I should check to make sure they're not. I guess they're not, no. I like that they're pre-mapped for you as a suggestion. For a while, I was trying to put them all down in Spitfire range, but then I was like, why? Why not just use the ones that are built in? Should we take a moment to save just in case one of these last ones is missing samples for some reason? Let's do that. Oh no. Oh no! I think I broke it. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It came back. Bum, ba-dum, bum, bum, bum. Well, have we run out of... Why is... Yeah, saves are definitely a little not great here. 45 gig so far on the patches you see here. Everything that says Opus something is a key switch patch that has, you know, like 20 or between, what I've noticed is between 20 and 50 articulations. Who doesn't want that? Who doesn't want that? This is one of my favorite patches, by the way, in Hollywood Brass. Mute Vib Fall. I guess it's the mutes that's causing all these problems. Someone yell at me in chat every time I forget to do the old-timey slide up. I stepped on a banana. I feel like I'm... Charlie Brown, what's the teacher saying? That's awesome. Old-timey stack. They seem a little quiet. I guess they're muted, but still. Plung. So I don't remember this in Hollywood Brass. So there's Charlie Brown's teacher. It's not quite as pitched, I feel like. Anyway. Plung fast sus. Just in case you wanted another plung articulation. This is why I love East-West stuff. Like, I'm sorry, like, this is awesome. I mean, who doesn't want to have plunger articulations? I love that it's old-timey and not a Harmon mute. Yeah, I know, right? I think the plung or plung... I'm assuming that means plunger. I should read the manual. I'm adding all of this. I don't care how much this is going to waste RAM, and every time I load my solo trombone from Opus, it's gonna like waste gigabytes of RAM on this stuff. I don't care. It's so good. Sounds like a dead beat singing a lullaby. Anyway, that's cool. Okay, so that's the solo trombone. We made it, everybody. Let's save the template so that it doesn't crash and we don't have to do that again. In general, if I can load a key switch patch, I do. Just because it's nice to have the number of total tracks lower in my template, but I don't mind, like, if you'll notice, like in Hollywood Brass, I just did a per track articulation. I find one articulation per track writing tends to make me not do so. Like, here, hold on. as soon as I get my control of my computer back, I'll show you why I don't love that. It's not my personal favorite. And well, I can actually just explain it. It's because like great melodies often mix articulations within the melody, especially from like a legato staccato perspective, right? Like Starbound doesn't do this, right? Starbound does all this like, you know, just placid. You know, it's all one articulation. But like even when we were playing Indiana Jones earlier, right? Like it's got shorts, longs. Or whatever, right? Like it's got shorts and like it mixes articulations, and doing that on per track is very annoying. I find it a very annoying workflow. So if I can do a key switch, I do. Even though key switches, I hate them so much. Insert rant about key switches here. What is next, y'all? We did our solo trombone. I think it's the tuba. It's time for tubas. Why are my tubas the wrong color? Hold on, just a minute. We gotta fix this. Can't have tubas be the wrong color. They shouldn't be purple. They should be yellow, like the rest of the brass. Sorry, tubas. Okay. Hollywood brass, tuba legato. Let's see what it sounds like. Praise the beach ball, yes. Play could not find a valid sample folder for one tuba legato slur, despite the fact that you loaded this yesterday. I'm sorry, I should have had this on. Abort. We're not going to be able to, there's something weird happening there. I should probably like run some health checks on this drive. It's the second time that's happened. Let's make this Opus Tuba. Opus Tuba is going to go above, abort, above. Play stuff in the templates. I wonder if Opus is going to fail too, because it uses the same one. All right, everybody. Cross your fingers. Here we go. Same samples. I promise they're on the drive. I promise. Okay, turn off their reverb. Articulations. So this one only has 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 8, 12, 16, 23. Looks like. Yeah, 23. Cool. Okay. What happened? What happened? Let me do this first. Something is wrong. I'll just use the sustain patch, but something's wrong with that Legato Slur. Did I like mess with the attack? No. That's weird. Okay, so there's a bug. Legato Slur on the tuba's broken. Portato. Oh, turn on all the key switches. Legato Rep. Let's see if Legato Rep has the same problem. I bet you $100, and by $100 I mean no money at all, that if I were to close this project, that Legato Slur would be fixed. I think it just had a little scripting error because I was playing it before it was loaded. in general. I hate key switches. But you know what? Key switches are the best way in a DAW that I know of. Slur runs. There's a runs patch for tuba. That's so weird. My piano playing is so bad. Continuing. Portato, where were we? We were on... Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Okay, good. Okay, for a second I thought some of the key switches were down in the actual tuba range, and I was like switching articulations while I was playing, and I was like, oh god, what has happened? I love Flutter Tongue on brass. It's so good. I don't use it nearly enough. Ah, just keep going. Rep slow. Now this is gonna be cool. This is gonna be cool. Wow, that's like a... That's, I mean, one way to do an SFC. Alright, we're almost done with the tuba. Okay, I feel like we've... And we will be done with the brass then, right? That's nice. I like that they include like crescendos if you want to have a prereq crescendo, because I think one-shot crescendos can sometimes sound better than ones you program in with the mod.
Wheel.
Most of the time I want to use a mod wheel, but occasionally a prereq is nice to have, so I always keep them in. Cool. So that is the brass. Opus has been added to the brass. So with all of these brass instruments loaded, we are currently using 50 gig. So, and that includes some Hollywood brass that we used as sort of our duplicate stuff. So, but that's only one articulation. So 50 gig is pretty close. This says 30. This says, what does this say? It says, so the Opus player is only reporting 30 gig is being used to actually do that. So it may be reserving some extra, which is why we're showing as 50. You know, Windows could be using a little bit more right now. I'm not 100% sure. So, but we're currently at about 50 gigs. So what I'm going to do, since I'm never going to be using all of these all at the same time, I'm going to go ahead and save this project. And then we'll start in on the winds. And see, like, I hear that the winds are where we could probably have the most improvement from Hollywood, because a lot of people don't like Hollywood winds. I think they're fine. I use them all the time. I think there's a couple of patches that aren't great, but by and large, I think they're fine. I think they're definitely the weakest of the series, but they're still good, and they still have that nice Hollywood sound. So. Flutter brass is so raw and powerful. 100%. It's so good. Flutter tongue, everything is good. My favorite one is in, actually, before we leave here, after the beach ball is finished with its blessed rain, I'll play. My favorite use of flutter tonguing is in Star Trek. 2009 Star Trek. Michael Giacchino. Calico, hi, how you doing? We're doing template work today, so not a lot of music making, but we're gonna make something that eventually could make music. In the queue for I think it's called Promising Young Men. It's got that dun 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 dun, and the flute goes. Dun dun dun. It's actually up here. Bum 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 bum. Oh, it's so good. Anyway, That's my favorite use of flutter tonguing. Okay, let's take a look at let's close this project and then we will take a look at the winds. In the trumpet part, that sounds like Morricone. Sounds like him. I just thought that was because that score is so, it's very pseudo modern. You know, it's kind of it's Michael Giacchino, so it's of course excellent and perfect and wonderful and sounds super great. But you don't often hear specialized articulations in those like ultra modern scores. So it was fun to hear. Okay. I should have probably blanked screen. Oh well. Okay. Let's continue onward. Let's add some winds. Let's see how much RAM do we get back. So we're currently using 8 gig. So let's start in on that. Bum, 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 bum. I haven't tried the Orchestrator yet, which is, I think, the big feature. I mostly want to just have Hollywood libraries in my template that that I can use. I usually put my piccolo and flute on the same track. Yeah, we'll maybe do those separate. In fact, after this we'll do piccolo. All right, let's see what Opus did with Hollywood Winds, shall we? How is it different? I don't typically use like A3 flutes, so I'm not even going to add those for now. I may add them at a later date. Because who doesn't love oboes A2? Oh, that's never a complete and utter disaster. Never. Okay, so let's turn off their reverb and let's take a look at articulations. So, sustains. Not bad. If I'm going to use more than one flute, it's going to be in like a chord, you know? So, the vibrato. Let's talk about the vibrato. On, off. But it just switches, so be careful with that if you're using this. So that has not changed. That's fine. It's a solo instrument, that's typically how it works, but... Also, it sounds like they've moved volume to expression to match the rest of the series. I believe in Hollywood... Well, I can check. I believe in Hollywood, in the original Hollywood's modulation... No, it's vibrato. I'm wrong. I'm just too used to using other libraries because I haven't used these in a while. I wish I had a breath controller. That'd be cool. But I don't. Okay, so sus actually sounds... I mean, that sounds good enough to, like, carry a line. I mean, all on its own. So I think they've made some changes to I think they've made some changes. So let's do the long. This is the sustain patch from the play version of Hollywood Winds. Let's go back to Opus now. It does sound like it's handling on a non-legato, non-true legato patch. It does sound to me, it feels to me like it is using. It's got better it's transitioning notes, like the release attack, point is better, is scripted better. I can't remember the guy. There's a guy in VI who's a super great composer, does lots of work you've probably heard. He always posts about how people overuse legato, and it's 100% true. And this is a great example of it. I mean, like, most lines don't need legato on every note. You can do... and it sounds great. Because a lot of the time, there's not a transition, right? If I move this to legato... a few of those transitions are better with legato. A lot of them aren't. A lot of them sound not as good. If we were to like key switch this, isn't that C0? Is that not C0? Am I crazy? Why is it locked to... why is that not reading my key switches? We could do it this way. I'm not sure why those key switches aren't working right now. That's a troubling... we need to reload this patch. Let's reload the patch. Let's just load something else, whatever. Key switch master. Yeah, the thing is that when they do use legato and they do slur, it's always so great, right? It's always so nice. So I think there's a real danger. Why is that I'm reading key switches? I'm gonna go ahead and reload the project real fast. I'm going to restart Vienna too. Our key switches are not reading. I mean, I am a serial legato abuser. There is no greater sinner than me in this regard. Often, I'm just too lazy to switch it. And yeah, so this I'm saying this to myself too. I mean, even like stuff on like you listen to Starbound, there's way too much legato on most of the strings. Okay, let's go back and see if this key switch now is reading. If not, I'll just send them maybe a bug report. Opus flute. This will be nice because it'll give us a nice baseline for RAM too. We were at I mean, I just should have checked before we loaded it, but I think typically this idles around 6. So subtract 6 and that's about the real memory usage we're seeing for something like this. I'm not noticing a loading thing up here either. All right. Well, I'll get this configured. If this still isn't... Yeah, it's still not reading my key switches. That's all right. I'll maybe see if I can find a bug report. I mean, I'm sorry, that's a great sound. Anyway, let's just get everything added in and add some key switches. So F sharp 0. It's not. Yeah, I'm hitting all sorts of key switches down here. Oh well. So that's another thing. It's not quite bug free yet. Trill whole tone. Oh, we need to be turning on the key switches. Hey chat, you're supposed to yell at me. You're supposed to yell at me when I'm not doing the key switches. Check. No worries. I mean, I 100% admit that my feeling that the susses are, that the sustains are a little bit better in their transitions could be total bunk. I don't know. Okay, sounding good, sounding good. What we're gonna do is I'm gonna finish this one, and then I'm just gonna show you what the strings look like, and then we'll come back to this. I should check and see if I'm dropping any frames. No drop frames. Excellent. I mean, I can totally understand why they don't have. Why they don't have all the articulations loaded on these patches, because they would get a little obscene, especially the strings. Nope. That's cool. I know this is all in Hollywood Winds, but it's like every piece of avant-garde music ever. It's like a law. You have to have the... Well, good, Suitcase. I'm glad that it is useful to you. Ooh. Okay, so let's look at RAM usage. So we were at roughly 6, I would say, prior to loading this patch. We're at 14. And that's with 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24, 28, 30 patches, 30 articulations. So that's that. Let's take a look at the strings while we're here. Let's just do that. Let me save this this project because I'm eventually going to make this a template. And then we'll take a look at the strings. The strings definitely are much more resource intensive than the brass or the winds that we've looked at today. And then we'll go back to doing the winds. And then we will maybe take a look at the Orchestrator. I hear the Orchestrator and VE Pro are just like mutual enemies at the moment. So they say they're working on it, I believe. I thought I read that somewhere. We'll try it out and see, but know that might happen. So let's take a look at the Opus Violin 1. So as you can see, I've got all of the articulations loaded. We were using what? I can't remember. You'll notice that the RAM is used more here as we kind of go through this. Like, so is this why? Oh, that's still the flute. Silly me. There we go. So we're already at 24 gig of RAM, 25. It says that this is using 16 on its own, just this one instrument. And you can see why when I go to the articulations. There's quite a few. I mean, not quite as many as like that. Sorry, my shoe is really tight. That trombone, but yeah. Here's what these sound like. Oh, the key switches. See, the key switches are working there. So there's definitely like a Hollywood Winds bug here. Maybe not an Opus bug, a Hollywood Winds bug specifically. Here's what these sound like. Hey, Carson Music, nice to see you back. Whose longs can do that? This is a non-legato patch. This is the long patch. It's a long patch. I mean, I don't know of another library that can do that. I mean, it's worth whatever interface problems you have. I'm just saying, it really is. Okay, so that's the longs. Of course you all have the you could do the. What's marcato? That's G. Okay, so anyway, so they sound great. I think they're still doing the fake muting, but the sultasto is nice. and it's regular old key switching like any other library. And of course all the effects. You know, your usual thing. This is an interesting thing to try. See, we're getting... I get weird clicking on this one. And again, I can't tell if that's the player or me, like not having set up the hardware right on this guy. But none of the other ones do it. Oh, sorry. So I'm clicking on that one, but I think it's in the sample. Anyway, the Sul Tasto is very nice. So, sounding really, really very nice. The one I really liked was the cello. Which I thought was real good. So we were at, what, 32 gig RAM used? 25, something like that. Let's see what happens when we load this bad boy. I feel like bi-yearly, I take a screenshot of this window, loading plugins, wait, please wait, and just post it as hashtag Composer Life. I really feel like it's about half of what I do. So again, articulations looks like we have 4, 8, 12, 16, 23, 23-ish, so about 20 per. Because we don't have any old timey articulations for cello, which is, I mean, I feel like they could do better. I mean, there's got to be some old timey cellos, right? Sustains. Legato Slur. I mean, it's Hollywood strings in a new engine, so, you know, it's what you get. Just a nice interface, basically. So that's some of the strings. I'm just not gonna go through all of them. There's you know, too many of them, frankly, to go through quite like that. Our RAM use after loading up that 23 articulation is 40 gig. It says it's using 30 gig for 23 articulations. So, and again, you don't have to use all these articulations. You can use all these articulations if you have, you know, the memory, but if you don't have the memory, you don't have to. This machine currently has, I think, 120 gigs. So, I mean, if I was going to run all the string parts with all those articulations, I'd probably need to turn the ones I wasn't using off. Fine. I don't want to show off the purge function because I feel like it would be a little bit unfair to East-West, because you could hear that there was that popping and clicking in the repetition patch, which I think is my fault. I think it has to do with how I've got a few. I just feel like this virtual machine just needs to be tuned a little bit better, because it doesn't do that on a much less powerful machine, or at least, I shouldn't say that. Hollywood Strings does not pop and crackle on a much less powerful machine. So, you know, your mileage may vary there. I don't want to make claims that that's East-West fault, and I don't want to present it as like, oh my gosh, look at you know how good or bad this is. So note that all of the things you've been seeing today have been running at a fairly untuned virtual machine that could probably use a little bit of some settings tweakings, and I could probably run the discs a little faster and stuff. So take it or leave it, but that's I just want to be very clear that that's how that's working. So okay, should we go back to the winds? Let's go back to the winds for a little bit. Let's do Piccolo now. And actually, you know what? I noticed that I am so silly. I could have just done that. Let us pray to the almighty beach ball. We're probably not going to get all the way through the winds today. I'll probably do some more look at this tomorrow. Probably what we'll do is maybe tomorrow we can finish off the the template changes, and then actually try to write something using some of these patches in an actual, you know, setting, and mix them with other stuff, and really try to do like a real world. Oh, that should not be out of the track stack. There we go. We don't need that EQ on. Yeah, we can actually try like mixing it with other libraries, see how it works with other stuff. Let's see. Hold on. I've got this camera that I used to use occasionally. Let's see if it works. Yeah, so I've got a little melodic thing that I've written up that I think would make for a nice piece. So we'll maybe do that. Maybe not tomorrow, but maybe might need to be Monday. So one of the things I've been waiting around for, in addition to finishing up some client work, was that I have two kids. One's real little, like just turned a year old, and he recently started going to daycare, you know, so that I could have some time and my wife could have some time to actually work from home here. And so he just started that, but it's only Monday through Wednesday. So I'm thinking about shifting our schedule more to like a Monday through Wednesday sort of deal, so that I can make it a little bit more sustainable. Because right now, it's real hard for me to keep it up with the kids home. So we'll try it out. We'll see. Let's load up this Piccolo. I don't like the way that it closes that sometimes. I don't know why that does it. I'm not sure if that's Opus or... See, and my key switches aren't working again. It's only with winds patches. Okay, good to know. Nice sound, good sound. Trying to do some... Ooh, flutter tongues! We gotta play the flutter tongues. It's funny because it's such a high instrument. You have to have like such a it's like caffeinated flutter, because I'm sure because it's so high and requires so much more air. Piccolo players in chat / in the comments, if you are watching this on YouTube, can comment. I always love to be corrected by instrumentalists. And I'm not being kidding about that. It's actually really kind of nice to know that I was wrong and be fixed and have a better... Nice sounds, good sounds, good sounds. So yeah, one of the things I always get asked whenever I make videos like this, do you think this library is worth the cost? And you know, this is one of those things that it's really hard for me to answer because it is the same mostly, except for that 18 violin. With that first violin that I played earlier is the new 18 violin samples. Those are the only ones I know of that are different. So in comparing this to the regular Hollywood series that runs in the Play engine instead of an Opus, I would say that so far, after using it for literally a day, so not the most informed opinion. I haven't read the manual. I've just been kind of like first impressions. The things that I've noticed that are big differences are the interface is much nicer. The scripting seems to have been cleaned up in a lot of spots. I noticed that the sustain patches feel better to me. That could be 100% placebo. I have no idea. It's entirely possible those are exactly the same and there's no difference, that I'm just an idiot and could have been using them the entire time. But they feel more dexterous to me. And when I switch back and forth from, say, like this Opus Piccolo sus. Sorry. Let's play in its range. It doesn't sound... Especially monophonically. If I go now and load the Piccolo longs and play... Hold on, I've got that EQ'd a little weird. Sorry, I've been meaning to delete these EQs. Little figure. Sounds very synthy. Opus? Sounds better. I think it feels much nicer to me. The winds, I'm noticing much more dramatic changes, but in the other instruments too, just all the sustained patches seem more dexterous. They seem less soupy, like they don't run into each other as much. I've noticed the releases, the place where like a release and an attack of the next note merge feel very nice and natural to me on Opus, and on Hollywood they feel less so. So, I mean, is that worth the upgrade price? It might not be for you, and that's okay. I mean, that's not, you know, if you got to make decisions based on your own finances. This is one of the reasons why I'm a big proponent of Composer Cloud. Yeah, I don't have to worry about what the upgrade price is because I'm just on Composer Cloud. It's here. It's just showed up in my account. And so I mean that's really worth it to me. You know, this has justified basically a year of Composer Cloud Plus for me. It might not for you. That's okay. You know, we're all in different spots, and I definitely encourage people to use the tools that make the most sense for them. And that might not be this one. But yeah, let's go ahead and let's close out. We're going to finish the video. We're going to try the Orchestrator. Now, before I do this, I have heard that this does not work in Vienna Ensemble Pro. You will notice that everything I use goes through Vienna Ensemble Pro. Almost everything, except for some synths. So it is entirely possible we're going to load this up and it's going to explode and just die and we can't show it off at all. The server I'm running this on, again, I've talked many times this throughout this video about how it's not as optimized as it could be. It's a little bit older hardware. it doesn't, I don't know if it even technically meets their tech specs because I haven't read the manual. Your mileage may vary, is my point. Let's try it. Let's try the Orchestrator out. I'm going to duplicate my sketch track. We're actually going to try to add it to the template as orc sketch. Disconnect from Hindemith, connect to Villalobos, which is going to freak out because I don't have contact. Yeah, stop. I know. There's no contact. We don't want contact. Yeah, so let's see how this sounds. We'll keep the try to keep the task manager open here. We'll leave memory open over there. There's a way to make those a little bit. Sorry, we don't need to do that. So CPU, memory. Let's try something. Let's try a preset. Let's try the infamous... Isn't there the infamous Superman one? I don't know. Maybe this is not it. I don't remember which one that is. So this is a Marcato Brass Orchestrator preset. Seems to have loaded. So it's just like an ensemble patch when you load it like this. Let's try Apocalypse 1. I'm waiting to just watch this line. Just dick, 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 dick. Okay. That's weird. I don't even know what I'm doing. I'm like muting things with key switches. Oh, these are ensembles. Okay, cool. All right, so these are ensembles. We want to try the ostinatos out too. All right. Sorry, East-West. I apologize for being terrible about your quarter notes 1. Sure. So just like as a note, I'm showing CPU 29% in the plugin, but my CPU overall is only like less than 20, really. So always take those in plugin things with a grain of salt. Okay, is this loaded? Okay, it looks like it is loaded. It's actually really kind of cool. I was actually prepared to hate this feature. I mean, it's not adding a melody, right? Which is good. That's very good. It should not. ostinatos, quarter notes 4. Also, it's running really well in a virtual machine on semi-older hardware. It's not like super old, but it's not new. I actually could use this. I could use this in the same way that I can use Spitfire Symphonic Motions. Let's mute the percussion on that one. I'm not sure I love the ricochet stuff. Now, that is using... Okay, let's... Here. Interesting. Triplets soft. Triplets 6. I mean, I'm using 51 gig, but this is not the sketch, right? Remember, we have something like 100 articulations loaded on these other ones that we were working on earlier, so... So as far as like a starting texture, like that would be great if I just had like a chord progression. Like for example, this little piece I wrote that I was going to work on next time. Like let's play the chords from it and not the melody and see what it sounds like just with like a random preset. So we have... Yeah, that could actually be really useful. Cool. So that's ostinatos. So the ostinatos is definitely cool. The ensembles is really cool. I think probably a full orc big legato probably is what I'll end up putting in this spot in the template. Just as like a, hey, what if I wanted to, you know, just have a, like, what was the general feel of what we're going for here? I'm guessing. Let's see. I'm guessing what this is just like super 2D, right? Oh, it's real legato. Oh. So that's just a pre-orchestrated, like, full orchestral 2D legato. Okay. I thought what it was going to be is, like, in the strings, they have, like, a thing where you can have, like, melody in your right and, like, chords in your left. But I guess we're just doing, this. Okay. Does not respect the sustain pedal, which I currently am pushing down. So right now, I would say that's pretty good. The basses are like on top, but I mean it's just a patch. Give me just 1 second. Yes. What?
I need your keys.
Oh, yeah, no problem. Why do you gotta be sorry? The camera's not even on. No one can even see you. I put it on Be Right Back. They might be able to hear you, though. Because for some reason the mic is in this scene. I don't know why. There you go.
Thanks, Mom.
Thanks. See you in a bit.
Bye.
Okay, we're back. Okay, sorry about that. I don't know why the mic is now in my scenes that don't need a mic. It's weird. So some scratching. So I'm not sure why there's some scratching there. There wasn't in the other one, so whatever. All right, let's try some. We're gonna just do some of these scores, and then we'll call it a day. Black Knight. I wonder what this is referencing. What do you think this is referencing? I mean, so far I actually kind of like it. I mean, the ensembles, ostinatos stuff is actually mega useful. In that if you just need a line that just needs to sound good and be mostly balanced, and here's like a full orchestral 2D, or here's a little ostinato thing you can throw behind something. That's actually more useful than I was expecting. What happens if you like play a jazz chord? That's not really a jazz chord. Let's go around the circle of fifths in Hans Zimmer Dark Knight style, shall we? Let's go. Oh, I went to the wrong chord, sorry. What should be next? Oh, it should be B. Ooh. But yeah, that's actually kind of funny. I actually really like it. I'm not going to lie. I was prepared to hate this. Coming into this, I'm going to be perfectly honest, I was prepared to hate this. Because I expect a lot of people to do this. Or no, to do this. And then sell it as their own writing. Oh, that's lovely. Anybody want to just like, you could just write like or royalty-free music, like one trip through like 2 minutes of chords. All right, let's try another one. Family Adventure. Family Adventure. This should be 125 BPM, they say. Hopefully this is tempo synced to my DAW. So apparently what I heard about Vienna and this not working is total garbage because it's working great. So yeah, and it loads really fast, and I'm running it on hardware that should probably struggle. I was expecting to not use this on this hardware, but that's amazing. That's fun. Come on. Talk about getting some inspiration. I could turn off, you could turn off the brass in this. Like, where's the brass? Like, no, there's no brass on that. I hear a horn. I mean, so I can't remember who I was talking. Actually, no, I do remember. I was talking to another composer, and he was talking to me, and I can't remember what we were talking about, but he said, "Curtis, you don't strike me as the kind of composer who likes to compose in contact." Talking about, right, like, you know, like you can do all these like incredibly crazy arps and things in contact, and he's right. And he said it a little dismissively, but I could compose in this. This is kind of cool. I love it. It's kind of fun. There's something incredibly gratifying about hitting like a D7 chord. Like, and just getting cool stuff. That flute is way too loud. I mean, I kind of love it. I kind of love it. Superhero. Oh, this is the one. This is the one that made everybody on VI Control mad, right? Right? So what is that in? B flat, I think. Oh, no, it's not. It's not loaded yet. Oh no! Have we crashed it? All right. Oh, no, it's not crashed. All right, let's give it a second. Yeah, I think this one's going to be a little bit obvious. I'm just going to hit an open B-flat chord. Some obviously are a little bit more inspired. Obviously, some are a little bit more hard for your computer to handle. Ah! Oh my god. I mean, I was just gonna like mess around with a couple of these and then leave, but I kind of want to see what the other ones sound like. This is hilarious. So that one is pretty blatant. That one's pretty blatant, but it's kind of fun. It's kind of fun. I kind of think this is kind of fun. I mean, I'm not going to really use it, but it's cool. That's pretty cool. All right. I have to admit, I actually think that's a pretty useful little tool. Especially, like I said, the ostinatos. Because, like, I don't like having to program in just boring, like eighth note minor stuff. So, like, being able to just, like, load this up and go, okay, I just want the string part of this. Yeah, get rid of the percussion. I would definitely only use it, I think, in something where... See, obviously, if you're bad at this... I feel like if you're not a very good composer, you're going to have a hard time using this, though. That's kind of what I'm coming to the conclusion of. Like, that's actually really useful. That's as useful as, like, a Spitfire symphonic motion. I mean, how is that any different, like the ostinato tool here? How is that any different than, than Spitfire Symphonic Motion. Like if I load Spitfire Symphonic Motion up, just so I can remind myself. Just so that I make sure I change the right one and don't mess up. Yes, okay. Just making sure that was the same one. Is that in... No, it's its own player. Like, let's load up Spitfire Symphonic Motions and just, like, grab a preset and see how different it is. Engine room pulses. That sounds pretty similar. Just get the same E minor chord on both. We'll hit it on Symphonic Motions first. Oh, that's gross. I don't like the, like, hyper... Here, we'll pick a different one. Pulse, I don't know, Subdued Chase. That sounds close to what we were doing before. So again, E minor. Okay, now let's do it in Hollywood, which is a little bit more fleshed out than that. So it's a little bit more fleshed out than Symphonic. Sorry, I'm pressing the wrong command button. Same thing. Okay, so let's go back up to this. This is on our sketch track, Orc Sketch. So the difference is Symphonic Motions isn't filling out the chord for you. This is definitely doing some work where it's like it's grabbing some notes and moving like and like looking at the voicing of the chord that you're playing and like making sure that things are doubled correctly. So on that sense, maybe it's doing a little bit more for you. But that's so boring and easy to figure out anyway. I don't know. Like I kind of love it. It's super fun. All right, my verdict on Hollywood Orchestrator is that it is an amazingly fun toy to play with, and it's probably like, especially the ostinato stuff, probably has some actual really legitimate uses and is really great. And a lot of the Sturm und Drang about this, except for maybe the Superman one, I think is maybe a little overwrought. So, okay, so that's a quick look at Hollywood Orchestrator and Hollywood Opus Edition. Again, just some closing thoughts. If you own Hollywood Orchestra, what this is it's that same stuff for the most part. It's that stuff. It's all those samples for the most part. They're in a new engine. That new engine is a little nicer to look at. It's obviously got a few scripting improvements, I think, to it. Some of the patches, especially notably, and I can't stress this enough, the sustains definitely sound better, I think, in Opus. They're definitely more agile. They're definitely, you're able to sort of, do slow music or fast music or big, arpeggios or whatever with a sustain patch. Whereas in regular Hollywood strings, for example, that would not, or well, in any of them really, that would not really work. So there are definitely a lot of scripting improvements in how it's using those samples. As far as new sample content, the only stuff I've been able to find is those first violins. I'll go and read the manual over the weekend and see if I can like get a definitive list of this is the new sample content. I will say that 18 violin patch fits right into the Hollywood sound. It just sits next to it like it was recorded with it originally, which is cool. It's really cool. So, I mean, there's that to think about. Additionally, I would say that you're getting the Orchestrator, obviously, is a new thing, which I just kind of played around with for a few minutes. It's pretty cool. I would say as a composition thing, it's probably pretty useful, honestly. Just in your ability to like, what are the possibilities of this chord progression or this melody, right? Like, even like just grabbing something like an ensemble patch out of this, and grabbing even, like I said, that just like full ensemble long out of there, like a sustain patch. I've got this little melody and chords that I wrote down the other day that I'm enjoying, and just playing it into there once it loads, it gives you some ideas, like what could this be? Like where could I go with this? I could go some interesting places. I mean, obviously, you need to run on a pretty powerful machine. This is just chord roots and melody. It needs some work in terms of balance, but it gives you a good idea. It gives you somewhere to go with it. It gives you some... You know what this reminds me of? This full ensemble patch that's kind of doing a little bit of... I think it's doing some doubling for you. It reminds me of like what organs are meant to be, right? Like this is like all the stops of an organ out, and we're just gonna play an A minor chord. Only it actually sounds like a real orchestra instead of just being this like sort of wall of organy sound. Not that there's anything wrong with organs. Organists, do not come after me. So I think this is a pretty cool tool, actually. I will admit that coming in when I saw the videos on this on East West site, I was like, that feels gross. And so far, the only thing that feels gross is the Superman patch. Feels a little gross. But other than that, everything else feels great. Feels really good. And even the Superman patch, like, you could take it cool places and do cool things with that little motive. Dun, 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 dun. That would be neat. So, I mean, is that worth the $500 upgrade price? I mean, I don't know. For me, it is. I mean, like I said, I subscribe to Composer Cloud Plus, and this has justified my Composer Cloud Plus subscription for the year, which I think is like $600. So, you know, it's pretty good. Those are my thoughts. And I will be back on, I think I'm going to try for Monday. That's what I'm going to shoot for, because like I said, kids are back in the house tomorrow and Friday. Plus, I got to help the wife with some stuff. So we'll plan for maybe trying to at least stream Monday, maybe Monday, Wednesday or something. I don't know. We'll figure it out. I don't want to promise anything because then I have these big gaps where I'm dead and not on. But it's been fun today to work on this. So we'll come back Monday. I'll probably have added all this stuff to the template by then. That's what I'll probably spend Thursday and Friday doing, is just adding all the rest of the woodwinds. I can maybe walk through them a little bit. But yeah, it's been fun, everybody. If you're watching this on YouTube, thanks for, doing that. And if you want to support me, everyone tells me I should be saying this at the end. My suggestion is buy an album. Stuff's available everywhere. iTunes, Spotify, the Google Play stuff. Everywhere that you can, Amazon. Everywhere you can get music, my stuff is. So if you just want to listen to my stuff on Spotify all weekend, that would be a great way to support. So thank you, everybody. It's been really fun. Have a great rest of your day / night / morning, whatever time it is where you are. And we'll see you hopefully on Monday. Bye. I've dropped at 842 frames. Good point.